Love in the digital realm. I never expected that a simple friend request on Facebook would change my life forever. His name was Rene, a young man 13 years younger than me, living in a different country. Our connection was instant and effortless. We started as friends, and I still remember his first message. "Nice name." At first, our conversations were casual. We talked about our hobbies, favorite movies, and the places we dreamed of visiting. Ren was working as a truck driver, saving every penny to achieve his dream of going abroad. Despite his modest means, his determination and passion were inspiring. I, on the other hand, was well-educated and in a better economic position, having completed my education and secured a stable job. Our backgrounds were different, but that didn't matter to us. As days turned into weeks, our bond grew stronger. Rene began sharing more personal aspects of his life. He talked about his challenging work hours and how he was saving money for his dream. I admired his dedication and found myself sharing more about my life as well. We confided in each other more than we had with anyone else. I was lonely and eagerly awaited his messages, finding comfort in his words. Every morning, Rene sent me a good morning message. His words were simple, yet filled with warmth and sincerity. Those messages became the highlight of my day, a reminder that someone out there cared deeply for me. We laughed together, shared our worries, and supported each other through difficult times. One day, Rene shared his dream of going abroad as a truck driver in more detail. He had already started the process, and his passport was in the works. This meant he couldn't come to see me, which made our bond purely through our virtual conversations. Despite the distance, our connection felt strong and real. We talked only with WhatsApp texts, yet our communication felt as intimate as if we were sitting face to face. Rene didn't know my age when we first met. I knew his, but it didn't seem to matter at the time. Our bond felt timeless. Then, one day, he confessed his love for me. I was taken aback, my heart racing as I typed out my response. I revealed my age, worried it would change everything, and it did. He was shocked, and for a few days I didn't hear from him. Those days were the longest of my life, filled with doubt and anxiety. But Rene came back. He told me he couldn't forget me, that our connection was too strong to let go. We resumed our conversations even deeper than before. He spoke of marriage, but the idea of living in my country was impossible for him. Still, we dreamed together, imagining a future where we could be together despite the odds. Our conversations were filled with dreams and plans. We talked about traveling together, exploring new places, and building a life where we could be happy. Rene's determination to achieve his dreams and his unwavering support gave me hope and strength. Despite the distance and the challenges, our love grew stronger with each passing day. I lived with my brother and his family, a small but loving household. Yet, despite their presence, I felt lonely. My parents had passed away, and Rene had become my solace, my source of happiness. But then, things began to change. He started avoiding me, saying he was busy. He explained that he was working overtime to save money for his dream. The good morning texts that once filled my heart with joy stopped coming. His replies became infrequent, often delayed by hours or even days. When he did text, his messages were brief and lacked the warmth they once had. His excuses were painful, but I believed him when he said he never forgot me. As time passed, it became increasingly difficult to reach him. His replies were very short, and sometimes he only responded once or twice a week. Despite this, I held on to hope. Then, one day, out of the blue, he replied and talked to me like he used to. It was like a ray of sunshine breaking through the clouds. For a brief period, he texted me like before, and I felt our bond rekindling. However, over time, his messages gradually became less frequent once more. I felt the emptiness grow and frustration set in. I tried reaching out, but his responses became sparse again. Eventually, overwhelmed by the inconsistency and emotional toll, I blocked him, hoping it would ease my pain. After blocking him, I suffered even more. About a week later, I unblocked him and texted again, but there was no reply. Later, I found out his WhatsApp was deactivated. One day, I saw his WhatsApp was active again and sent him a good morning text. The reply I received was shocking. A woman, claiming to be his wife, told me to never contact him again. I was devastated, but I couldn't believe it. I thought it must be a joke. A few days later, I sent him a text from a different number, hoping for clarity. To my relief, he answered. He explained that it was indeed him who had texted me in that shocking manner, pretending to be someone else. He confessed that he was overwhelmed with his financial struggles. Rennie said he had been busy collecting money to go abroad as a truck driver, which was why he deactivated his WhatsApp temporarily. He apologized for the confusion and the hurt he caused. This time, Rennie asked for my help, reminding me that I had offered it earlier, but he had declined, wanting to achieve his dreams on his own. However, he now admitted that he needed my support. I sent him the money, hoping it would bring us closer again. He thanked me profusely, saying he would never forget my support, and promising that this time things would be different. After sending Rennie the financial support he needed, I hoped our relationship would strengthen and return to its previous warmth. For a while, it seemed like things were improving. Rennie's messages became more frequent, and he expressed deep gratitude for my help. However, he still kept a certain distance. His messages were very short, and he only texted once or twice a day. Though brief, at least he was making an effort to stay in touch. Then, about a week later, Rennie shared something that shook me. He said his parents were looking for a partner for him and that he couldn't avoid their wishes. He was under immense pressure to make a decision, and it seemed inevitable that he would have to choose between his family's expectations and our relationship. This revelation was heartbreaking. I felt a mix of emotions, fear, sadness, and helplessness. Rennie assured me that he still cared deeply for me and didn't want to lose what we had. He explained that he was in a difficult position, torn between his love for me and his duty to his family. Despite the emotional turmoil, I decided to support him through this challenging time. I knew his journey was not easy, and I wanted to be there for him, no matter the outcome. I offered him my understanding and patience, hoping that we could find a way to navigate this together. As the days passed, our communication remained consistent but brief. We both knew that the road ahead was uncertain, but we held on to the hope that love would find a way. Then, one day, Rennie told me that he was going to marry soon, and the news struck me with a mix of disbelief and resignation. I struggled to maintain composure as I replied, "Okay." Deep down, I knew this marked the end of the romantic hopes I had cherished. René reassured me that even after getting married, he would never forget me and promised to continue talking with me. His words were bittersweet. While comforting in one sense, they also solidified the reality that our relationship could never evolve into what I had hoped for. In the days that followed, René's messages became sporadic. He was preoccupied with wedding preparations and the impending changes in his life. Our conversations, once filled with dreams and hopes for the future, now revolved around practical matters and fleeting moments of connection. As René's wedding day approached, I faced the reality that our relationship would inevitably change. I knew I had to find a way to let go, to accept that our story had reached its inevitable conclusion. Through tears and moments of quiet reflection, I found the strength to wish René well on his new journey, silently mourning the love that could never fully blossom. As René's wedding day approached, I found myself in a whirlwind of emotions. I had to accept that our relationship was changing and that our romantic hopes were slipping away. On the day of René's wedding, I woke up with a heavy heart. The finality of the situation weighed on me, but I knew I had to be strong. A few days after his wedding, I sent René a message, hoping to hear that he was happy and adjusting well to his new life. My message read, "I hope you are happy with your new life." His response was almost immediate, but instead of words, he sent me a single sad face emoji. Confused and concerned, I immediately replied, "Why? What's wrong?" However, my question was met with silence. The hours turned into days, and still there was no response from him. Then, one night, just as I was about to fall asleep, my phone buzzed with a notification. It was a voice message from René. My heart raced as I pressed play, and I listened intently to his familiar voice. He confessed that he hadn't gotten married last week as I had believed, but 4 months ago. The weight of his words settled over me slowly. At first, it didn't make me any sadder than I already was. But as I lay there in the dark, I started to piece together the puzzle. His distant behavior, the sporadic messages, and the times when his WhatsApp seemed inactive all made sense now. Those days when he had seemed particularly evasive and unreachable were likely the days leading up to his actual wedding. The realization hit me like a wave. He had been avoiding me because he was already married, living a life that he hadn't disclosed to me. His WhatsApp inactivity was because he was fully immersed in his new reality, one where I was not a part of his everyday life anymore. As I processed this, I felt a mix of emotions: betrayal, understanding, and a deep sense of finality. It was clear that our relationship had been irrevocably altered long before I even knew it. This revelation didn't just shed light on his behavior, it also forced me to confront the truth about our connection and the limitations it now faced. In the months that followed, our communication became even more strained. We would talk from time to time, but these conversations often ended in quarrels. We would go silent for weeks, sometimes even months, each of us lost in our own worlds of confusion and hurt. I found myself constantly questioning what had really happened between us. Did he truly love me, or had I been just a temporary distraction for him? But every time I sought answers, I was met with vagueness and ambiguity. Desperate for the truth, I dug deeper into his life. Finally, I uncovered the reality that shattered any remaining illusions I had. René's marriage was not an arranged one, as he had led me to believe. It was a love marriage. He had chosen to marry that girl against his parents' wishes. This revelation was like a final blow, confirming that he had not been entirely honest with me. Understanding that Rennie had made his choice long before, and it wasn't me, was both painful and liberating. It clarified the murky waters of our past interactions and gave me the closure I needed to move on. Still, there are many questions that remain unanswered, questions only Renner holds the answers to. One thing is certain, I loved him with all my heart and trusted him completely. He betrayed that trust in the most hurtful way possible. I am left in the dark, not knowing the full story from his perspective. Was I merely a fleeting distraction, or did he ever truly care for me? This relationship has been the most humiliating and heartbreaking chapter of my life. The deception, the lies, and the emotional turmoil have left deep scars. In the aftermath of this betrayal, I find myself unable to trust anyone as I once did. The thought of opening my heart again seems impossible. I've resolved to live my life alone, protecting myself from the pain of future deceit. This incident, which took place 2 years ago, still haunts me. I often find myself reflecting on those times, trying to piece together what really happened. Despite the passage of time, the memories remain vivid, and the pain, although dulled, lingers. I continue to wonder about the truth behind Rennie's actions, and the uncertainty leaves a lasting ache in my heart. Now, Ren has found happiness in marriage and delights in fatherhood with his 2-year-old daughter. As I reflect on these past 2 years, I continue to ponder what truly transpired, haunted by the unanswered mysteries of our love story. Throughout our time together, René always promised he would never forget me. However, reality turned out differently. This experience serves as a lesson for anyone in online relationships. Be cautious and mindful. Trust is precious, and sometimes things are not as they seem. As I look back, I realize the importance of being careful with your heart and emotions. This concludes the series, and we appreciate your support and engagement throughout. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and stay tuned for more new videos in the future. Share your thoughts on their journey in the comments below. Thank you for watching.